favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Imperial probe droid from Hasbro's Black Series line. Not a lot to talk about, but it is a release. A lot of us are home and bored, so let's take a look at it. But we'll start with the single accessory. Accessory-wise, you get this, which is a base. It's textured to look like snow, and I don't know if there's any paint on it. There might be, though, because it looks like there's some different hues of like white and blue or maybe gray around. And then you have your kind of translucent rod. That'll plug into the base, and then you have that bit at the top, which will plug into the base of the probe droid. And it does put it up like a good bit. It does end up looking fairly nice, you know, as a result. So let's talk about it. And, you know, it's kind of straightforward, right? But we have this part that swivels, the top part. It has this like glossy eyes throughout, and then it has silver kind of wear and tear weathering done on it that's sometimes a little heavy-handed, but often looks pretty good. We have the red paint accents that are done pretty clean and sharp, and then we have a brown dry brushing throughout. And the plastic itself is like metallic flecked, so it is decoed quite nicely. On top of that, you have these antennae. They will collapse and expand, which is fine, and it swivels. This little thing here also swivels. The bottom piece, once again, we had the brown dry brushing with the silver dry brushing, tons of sculpted detail throughout, both in like the eyes, the little, you know, all the little stuff on top, all the panels and so forth. And then we have the silver weathering done, which is consistent with the top. And that is to say, often looks good, but often is heavy-handed. And then we have the bottom part, right? So the bottom part, we have a little bit of sculpted detail down in there. All of the legs swivel where they plug into the base of the body. I'm trying to think if any of these are completely identical, and I'm not sure that they are. I'm not even sure if they use the same parts. This one and that piece might be the same. Either way, it looks unique enough and interesting enough where it doesn't feel like you're just getting like a bunch of the same identical things plugged in. So we have a swivel. When you swivel this, this is a softer plastic. Use caution here. You can swivel at this knuckle and then down at the bottom as well. And it's basically a hinge. Same here. Hinge, 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 hinge. And then same on this side. And even the little claws are in different positions. And you can kind of pose them. Like I remember in that scene like where they're moving, it's like his legs are kind of like, you know, and you can kind of do that here, which is fine. Look, there's not a lot to it. The legs all are sculpted nicely. They all have the brown dry brushing and some silver weathering as well. You get less of it as you move down the legs. It's more heavier towards the top. And that's about it for this fella. Size comparison-wise and display-wise, this is where I kind of plan on having him on my shelf. And I think he fits in nicely. And I moved Veers towards the back with the lighting. It kind of draws your focus to Veers, and then you kind of notice everything else along the way. Not a whole lot of room for anybody else at this point, but I don't know who else I would really need anyway. So this is where I'm going to have it, and hopefully it gives you an idea how big he is. It is a good size, so to speak. Final thoughts-wise, look, here's the negative. It's a little expensive for something that doesn't do a whole lot other than sit there. But the thing doesn't do a whole lot other than sit there. I think if this was priced at a figure base, people would feel a lot more confident in purchasing it. However, I will say at the same time, though, let's talk about the positive. Plenty of paint deco, plenty of sculpt work. Everything that can articulate does articulate. I'm happy that they didn't go the gimmicky route with firing missiles that don't look accurate or purposeful in regard to the mold. I think that's a well-done choice. I like the display base. So look, Black Series stuff can go a number of ways. Sometimes if you pass on it, you'll be able to get it for $5 later on down the line. Sometimes if you pass on it, you gotta buy it for $100. I'm comfortable having spent the money on it because I do think it looks good. I do think it adds something to my display. And ultimately, I'd rather have it at a higher price point than need it at a inventory issue or even higher price point. That's kind of how I feel about it. If you don't really want one, or you're not really into it, or into like the Hoth kind of motif, there's nothing about this that's gonna wow you enough to get it. But if you're kind of interested in one, it's gonna be everything you want it to be, other than, in my opinion, appropriately priced. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.